everyone. It's our Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Welcome back to a live stream tonight, and hopefully this is all working pretty well. So please do let me know in the live chat if it's all working well and the stream's live, because had some issues on Monday night, which fingers crossed there's no issues this time. So let me know in the live chat if it's all working and you can hear and see me clearly, and you can see Jack and hear him clearly. But yeah, it's great to have Jack back on the channel tonight on the Big Cat Chat podcast. It's a massive game, a huge finals game coming up this Saturday afternoon down there in Penrith. No greater task than taking on the Panthers, the back-to-back NRL premiers, the champions, who just won the minor premiership again last week. Champions side, and this is going to be a really big task for us taking on this Panthers team on Saturday. But Jack, it's good to have you on. I hope you're doing well, and it's good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, mate. I loved it last time I was here, so glad to be back.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you back on because, look, I mean, not many people, including myself, were expecting us to take on the Panthers in week one of the finals. If you predicted that at the start of the season, you're crazy, because that was never going to be the case. I didn't expect that going to this week. But, Jack, it's good to have you here. You're a massive Penrith Panthers supporter. You're running your podcast there in the Big Chat podcast with Natalie as well. You guys haven't been doing a podcast in a while, I've noticed, but hopefully you guys can get back on the horse. What's going on there at the moment? Because you guys haven't been doing a podcast. So you've been busy, or what's been happening?
Yeah, we got we got a bit lazy there for a couple of weeks. Then we just had some issues, basically scheduling when we'd both be able to do it, and then Nat is now overseas, and I think I need to be a bit more motivated to do the recordings if I'm going to have to do them alone occasionally. I should just do it, but there'll be one coming out this week, so back on the horse, right in time for finals.
Yep.
Hope to pick up as many bandwagoners as possible,
Yeah, well, it's this Penrith side, we know how classy of a team they are. I've got high praise for the Panthers, but this week they're the enemy, so we want to beat them. We want to beat you guys. What are your thoughts just generally on the season, the NRL in general? Well, what are your thoughts on the season as a whole, and how you guys have been continuing on that successful run that you guys continue to show to be at the top again, after last 2 years. It's an incredible run, isn't it? It's amazing run what you guys have been doing. So yeah, what are your thoughts on general on the NRL season and how the Panthers have been going this year? Because obviously it's been another very good season for you guys. Sitting in a position where you're sitting at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic season. I think it's been probably the best season that we've had in the NRL in the last few years. It's been a much closer competition, I've thought. The fact that Penrith were able to finish first while losing, I think, 6 games throughout the season. That hasn't really happened the last few years. So the rest of the competition has definitely evened out a little bit more. I think post-Origin, we saw the gap start to open up a little bit, and we really saw the top 4 teams plus maybe someone like Newcastle. We saw those teams really break away from the rest, I think. But in general, I think the competition this year was probably the best we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a very good season, the NRL, and obviously we've still got those bottom teams that struggled again this year, the likes of the Tigers and that. But the Warriors have come far, us included. We were in the bottom 4 last year, almost got the spoon. It was a real tough season last year for us. So, what are your thoughts there on the Warriors, the opposition team that you guys are facing this week? Have you been real impressed with how they've been going? And the likes of Andrew Webster's, an assistant. He was an assistant coach at the Panthers, but he wasn't highly rated as a head. Well, he wasn't highly rated in the offseason. There was a lot of talk around Cameron Serrato and that. But what are your thoughts there on how the Warriors have been going this year?
Yeah, they've surprised a few, haven't they? I was hopeful for them. I didn't think they'd make the finals. I didn't tip that. I thought they'd improve because I thought Webster's a very good coach, and it was really exciting to see, how it's worked out for him in his first season as a head coach in the NRL. It's been amazing to see. And
Yeah.
I think a very underrated thing for the Warriors this year that some people seem to be forgetting is they're finally back in New Zealand for the entire season. And look what happens, huh? Like, it's been amazing to see the Warriors be able to play in front of their home crowd. And some of those crowds over at Mount Smart this year have been absolutely insane. And, with like everything from the atmosphere to the amount of people that are going to the funny signs and stuff that we're seeing in the crowd every week, it's all been just awesome. And I think it's just made a really happy vibe around the club. And I think a lot of the time, the club that wins is the club that's the happiest. Every team has good players and good coaches and stuff, but as long as everyone is on board and they're on the same page and they're all fighting for each other, I think that's when you get a season like the one that the Warriors have produced.
Yeah, exactly right. And just what Andrew Webster has done to get this team to where it is now, it is a huge huge shout out to him and the coaching staff because this team has shown a lot more consistency that's shown in previous years, and I think being back home has also helped in case. And there's some players that have been in career best form like Sean Johnson and the likes. But we'll talk about that with the team list coming up, which we'll discuss the team list. But look, overall, for you guys, in terms of where you finished at, this season, you finished up the top again. Has there been any surprises for you? Any shocks from your team this year, or look, obviously Penrith fans have always had these expectations that you guys would be up there again this year, but has there been any surprises for you, like any players that have like an emerging talent that's come through this year?
I've really, really liked Zach Hosking. I thought he was a good player and a good signing when we announced it, but I didn't quite think he'd be that good. I thought more that Luke Garner was going to be the starter and the replacement. But the way that Hosking has fit into the team like a glove has been absolutely amazing. I think we've seen his involvement come back a little bit as Scott Sorensen has proved that he's just as good in second row as he is a prop, and so that's been really amazing as well. But I think the team overall showing how hungry they still are has been great. I think when I did my preseason predictions, I think I tipped us to finish third or fourth. I thought that we'll still be up there, but I thought we might drop off a little bit. With the losses of Kickout and Coruscant.
Yeah.
No, I always backed Mitch Kenny. I love him, and I was really glad to see just the improvement in him as well. He's not Abby Coruscant. He's never going to be a proper Abby Coruscant replacement, but he's still been great. And I just think overall the way the team has sort of stayed as a unit and stayed where they were and stayed hungry to keep achieving has just been really amazing to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this game this week kicks off at 4:05 in Australia, so that'd be like 6:05 p.m. in New Zealand. So the good thing is this game is actually kicking off at a good time for the viewers of New Zealand as well, because there's a bit of talk around it being a Friday night game, and generally these games are opening games to start the round, but they've opened up with the Broncos and the Storm. It's so. So very happy that we've had this fixture been put on at this time on a Saturday at 4 in the afternoon there. So just on the going through the team list now. So would you be happy to go through the Penrith side? I'll go through the Warriors side first because we're the away team, and then you'll go through the Panthers team. So
sounds great to me.
All right, so we'll go through the team list. Just get this on the screen first. There we go. Team list. Okay, so the Warriors. So the Warriors, this is how we line up for this game. So we got Charles Nichol-Kluksa at fullback. Dylan Watini-Zelezniak on the wing there. Rocco Berry in the centres of Adam Pompey. Marcelo Montoya on the other wing. Tamari Martin up against... Actually, he did play for Penrith. He did play for you guys, actually. Did he? Yeah, he did play for Penrith. So he's up against his former side there. So he's a 5'8", so it's good. You know, Tamari Martin returned to the side last week against the Dolphins. And, this will be his second game back from injury. So, he played a bit of New South Wales Cup, but he played against the Dolphins last week. So 5'8", he's the 5'8", lining up against Jack Cogger. Warriors halfback Sean Johnson there, who just won the Warriors Simon Mannering medalist for the Player of the Year. Adam Fanua-Blake's the prop, and Wade Egan's the hooker, another former Penrith player. Played for you guys in the under-20 side. Mitchell Barnett the prop, and Jackson Ford in the second row with Murata Niokore and Tohu Harris is the captain and lock. Bench is Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga, Bailey Cernan, and Josh Curran. And the reserves, Freddie Lussick, Tane Tuapiki, Bunty Afoa, Tom Ale, and Edward Cosey there. So that is the Warriors team list, and that's how we line up. Now, over to you, Jack, for the Penrith side.
Of course. Well, so at fullback, we have Dylan Edwards. The wings are Sunia Taruva and Brian To'o. Our centers are Isaac Tungor and Stephen Crichton. Jack Cogger, of course, is still 5'8", and Nathan Cleary, our co-captain at halfback. Our front row is the great pairing of Moses Leota and James Fisher-Harris. Our hooker is the wonderful Mitch Kenny. Our second rows are Scott Sorensen and Liam Martin. And our co-captain, Isaiah Yeo, is the lock. On the bench, we have Tyrone Peachy, Lindsay Smith, Spencer Lenu, and Zach Hosking. And then in the reserves, we have Jamin Salmon, Matt Eisenhuth, Luke Summerton, Luke Garner, and Tom Jenkins.
Awesome. So overall, what are your thoughts on the team list? What's your thoughts on your side, the Panthers, and how you've lined up? And what is your thoughts on the Warriors team list? Obviously, there's not really any shocks and surprises with both teams going at full strength this week. So, what are your thoughts here on the Panthers team there?
Yeah, I think I'm very positive, to see that Isaac Tungor named to start this time instead of being a late inclusion is a good sign for me. Mitch Kenny and Scott Sorensen both named is very, very positive for me. I can't wait to have them back. I hope they're fit and I hope they're ready to go. I find it interesting that Ivan has preferred Tyrone Peachy over Sonny Luke once again. Yep. I'm a big Sonny Luke fan, and so I'm a bit surprised, but I don't necessarily disagree with it. I kind of think his defense can let him down sometimes, so I'm not too mad at Tyrone Peachy. I thought he was good on the weekend as well when he came on. And the bench, like the rest of the bench, I think it pretty much speaks for itself. Lindsay Smith has been fantastic this year. Spencer Lenu is always great. And Zach Hosking, once again, my surprise for the season. With the Warriors team, I'm very excited to see Tamari Martin run around. I didn't get a chance to watch the Warriors-Dolphins game, so I haven't seen him since his return, but I'm really happy for him. He's always seemed like a nice guy. I like him at Penrith, so really glad to see it. That forward pack, I'm just looking at it now on my phone. That is massive. That is Adam Fanua-Blake, I think, has been every bit as good as Payne Haas this season. He is an absolute machine. Mitch Barnett has also gone under the radar. Everyone knew when he was playing in Australia how good of a player he is. And I think people have kind of forgotten that this year, just with some of the other great forwards in that team. Tohu Harris is like one of my favourite non-Penrith players in the comp. And then that bench is dynamic as hell. You got Walker and Tavanga who can come on, and then Kieran and Curran to just do some dirty work as well. That's a big team.
Yeah, it is. And just when I went through me and Hold the Ball on his YouTube channel last night. So shout out to him. We did a great stream, and we talked about the team list as well. We went through them, and we talked about how the 4-pack was going to be we feel like the 4-pack would be the difference in this game more than the halves. Everyone talks about the halves, the loss of Johnson and Cleary up against each other there. For you, if you look at these two teams, when in terms of a key matchup and battle, which area would you say would be the key to winning this game on Saturday?
I think it's going to be very interesting to watch the battle of the halfbacks because the forward packs are both going to absolutely beat each other up, and they're going to do everything they can to make as much territory for the team. But it's going to be what Sean Johnson and Nathan Cleary do with that good ball. They're two of by far the best halfbacks in the competition. Sean Johnson's probably been the best halfback this season, and then Nathan Cleary overall is probably the best player in the competition. So it's very, very interesting to see which one of them is able to get their team over the line. I've loved the way Sean Johnson has evolved his game to be this calm, organising half who's still capable of doing that flashy stuff that we saw for the first bunch of years of his career. But he just seems so much more clear on his job now, and he just executes it basically to perfection every time. So that's going to be the big battle, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just on your halves, you're just looking at your halves of Nathan Cleary and Jack Cogger. No Jerome Luai. What is the news around Jerome Luai at the moment? Because he suffered that injury. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks ago. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Eels.
Yeah, against the Eels there. So obviously Jerome Luai is a big out for you guys. He's a massive blow because he's part of your halves and clearing that. And what are your thoughts on Jack Cogger? Because Jack Cogger's come in. I think he's come in and played a few games for you guys this year. He's done a reasonably good job. How do you think he will fare going into this game? Because this being his first finals game, what are your thoughts on Jack Cogger?
Yeah, it's interesting because Cogger he's played well when he's come into the team, but there's no denying that he is not the same quality as Jerome Luai. Luai, I think they're expecting to be back by Penrith's next finals game, whether that's next week or the week after, depending on this result. They reckon Luai should be good for that. I'm still worried about him, about how well it's going. But yeah, I'm happy with Cogger as a replacement. I think he's one of the better backup halves you'll find in the competition, and I think that, you can see that with the fact that he's been rewarded with a contract next year at the Knights. It's going to be interesting. He's definitely he's closer to a Nathan Cleary style player than a Jerome Luai style player. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's pressure on Nathan to be a bit more creative and a bit more of a spark like Jerome is, because it's not exactly Cogger's natural game. But I back him to do a job. It's not like he's a liability. So it's going to be interesting to see the way the team has adapted to playing with Jack Cogger. And I think that's the main reason why Penrith played a full-strength team last week, was to build up those combinations in time for the finals.
Yep.
So I'm very keen to see how it's developed after another week playing together.
Yeah. And on that, I was going to ask you on that last week. You guys went full strength for that game, with the meaning of winning the minor premiership. I don't know whether that was the intention probably was to go out there and win the minor premiership. Look, if Brisbane won, obviously maybe Ivan would have made some changes. Do you think that would have been the case? Do you think it's a bit of a do you think it was a bit of a risk last week to play your full strength lineup, or did you think just the minor premiership meant a lot more? Because I know the premiership's more important, but what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think last week it was a bit of a risk going in there and playing your full strength side, or were you okay with it?
Oh, it was certainly a risk, but I was happy for it to be a risk that they took, and I'm just glad that it worked out. As to whether he would have played that team had the Broncos won, I really don't know, because I think they really wanted to focus on building that combination. But whether that means that he just would have played Cogger and Nathan both out there, he might have rested other players for all we know. So it's a tough one. I think there would have been a few changes had Brisbane won, but I don't think there would have been massive changes like we saw from Penrith last year in the final round when the minor premiership had already been won.
Yeah. And just going back on those key matchups, like I think if you look at the 4-pack, so you got Murata Niokore, Tohu Harris, and you got you guys got Fisher Harris, Sorensen, and Isaiah Yeo. So well, I think for me that's where the Warriors need to look at the forwards, just to lay the platform. I think dominating in that 4-pack especially is going to be important for the likes of Johnson, Tamari Martin. You like your outside backs of Dallin, Wachinza, Lesniak. I think the Panthers, if you look at their outside backs, you've got Stephen Crichton there. And I said it on Hold the Ball stream that Stephen Crichton, he's a massive player for you guys in terms of big game, because he always delivers. He always seems to get an intercept try, and that's something the Warriors will have to watch out with in their passing. So, yeah, what are your thoughts there on that? How do you feel in regards to your outside backs? You've got some quality outside backs. You got Dylan Edwards there; he's back in the side. What do you think on that side?
Yeah, I'm quite confident in our backs. I think that's where we have an opportunity to sort of shine a little bit in that. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the Warriors have fantastic backs and have all had a great season, but I think Penrith is slightly just that little bit level above.
Yeah.
You've got To'o and Taruva who are basically clones. They play so similar to each other where they're just these balls of muscle that run and try and break through everything, And you've got Dylan Edwards, who is such a worker, but then has added this amazing playmaking and try-scoring ability to his game over the past couple of years. And then you've got Tungo and Crichton, who are just such luxury players, but still work really hard and are still quite good on both sides of the ball. It's definitely, I think that's our strong point. I agree with you about Stephen Crichton with the big game player, whether it has been for Penrith or whether it's been for Samoa, he steps up in the big moments, and if the game's on the line, that Critter is someone that you can look to.
Yep.
And I think you're right about the Warriors maybe just shouldn't pass when they're near him. You can't risk that intercept, just take the tackle every time.
Yeah, and just looking at our outside backs, they're good. They're very good outside backs, but the worry for me is going to have to be defending the likes of Crichton and To'o, and Taruva as well. And Taruva, boy, he's had a very good season for you guys. I think he's up there in contention for the Rookie of the Year for the NRL this year. What are your thoughts on Sunia Taruva? Very good, talented Fijian player. There's a lot of Fijian players in the NRL, and I think he's quite a talent, actually. I've been very impressed with how he's been going for you guys this year.
Yeah, he's definitely one where I think if he was playing in a lesser team further down the ladder, I think he'd be talked about a lot more.
Yeah.
But at Penrith, he just fits in so well that you almost don't realise that Taylor May isn't there. And he's been very, very good, in my opinion. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Dylan Edwards. And when he played fullback for Fiji in the World Cup, I thought he was quite similar to Dylan Edwards, his play style, where it's more of a running style. And I think you see him use the best of that with his role on the wing at the moment. And I think he has to be in the conversation for the Rookie of the Year. Maybe not winning it. There's been some pretty good rookies this year, but he's not far off it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think he's in contention as well. I really do believe he's in contention. There's quite a few out there at the moment as well. We've got Jareem Buller from the Tigers as well. He's in contention. So, you've got some good names out there at the moment. Now, look, the way this game, I think, needs to go the way of the Warriors, if they're to, they've got to get in the grind early. But I feel like, the Warriors can't play conservative football against this Penrith side. So, what are your general thoughts on that? Because I feel like, you need to throw a lot more at this Penrith side. You need to, throw a few offloads, maybe something that Penrith don't expect, because they love the the conservative brand of footy. Penrith, they can attack well. Don't get me wrong, can score points, but they're also very good at grinding out a game defensively. Very strong as well. We saw that last week against the Cowboys. They shut them down very well. Their defense was so strong, and it was a statement performance from the Panthers defensively as well. So, what are your thoughts there on that comment that I've just made in regards to not playing too conservative football against this Panthers team?
Yeah, I certainly think the Warriors kind of need to go for it a little bit. Finals are a weird one because it's about the result. If you have to grind it out, you have to grind it out. But if it comes down to an arm wrestle, that's where I don't see the Warriors being able to beat the Panthers. I think the Warriors need to score early and they need to get Penrith a bit rattled. That's what's happened when Penrith have lost games this year. Is they've been a bit rattled, chasing a game and haven't quite been able to make up for it. Aside from the Cowboys game, but that was a heavily rested team, so it doesn't really reflect that well. You've seen, like Parramatta the other week, and then also earlier in the season, you saw Parramatta once again, you saw the Tigers, you saw the Broncos, these teams that sort of, they build up a lead against Penrith, and Penrith have to chase it and run out of time a lot of the time. I think that's the key. That's what the Warriors have to do. It has to be a fast start, but they need to make sure, if they're going to stand a chance, not to lose their heads. If things don't work out early, if it turns into a grind, you've got to go with that grind,
Yeah, and just on a comment here that I've got asked here. So from Up the Wars in the chat. So how's going, Up the Wars? Good to see you. He's saying, how do you think, he or she, how do you think Sean Johnson and the Tamari Martin combo will go? So, look, how do you think it will go? Personally, how do you think? I said our biggest concern for me was Tamari Martin's match fitness going into this game. I feel like that Penrith will definitely target him. He's got the experience. He's been around for a while. He's played finals games before as well. So I think the only concern is Tamari Martin's match fitness. He hasn't had a lot of games since being back. So how do you feel that Sean Johnson and Tamari Martin combination will go? Because they had a strong combination at the start of the season, but since then Tamari Martin's been injured and he's been missing a lot of games. We've had Luke Metcalf. Unfortunately, Luke Metcalf is injured. He's out for the season now. What are your thoughts there on that combination?
Yeah, I agree with you in that I think Penrith will target him, and with regards to the match fitness as well, I think that's where they will try and get at him. But in terms of with the ball, we've seen Tamari Martin and Sean Johnson play with each other before, and they've been quite good. Yeah, and I think that will happen again. That combination hasn't exactly just fallen away because he's been out. It's a pretty convenient time for him to come back with Metcalf getting injured, actually. And I do think the fact that he's played a little bit in New South Wales Cup it surely has helped. Of course, that means he still probably will be the target in terms of defense. So I guess it's about the players that are around him as well. When the Warriors don't have the ball, doing everything they can to help and to sort of nullify Penrith's attack down that side of the field. But then with the ball, I don't really have any concerns for him. He's a fantastic player, and I've always liked when he's had an opportunity to do his thing out there. So it'll be nice to see at least.
Yeah, and going into this game, the Warriors, this season alone, sit third defensive team in the comp this year. So it's been a bit of a turnaround from previous years, defensively as well. So, regards to the Warriors being the third defensive team in the comp this year, and I'm sure Penrith defensively, I'm sure they're well up there in the stats as well. What are your thoughts here, Jack, on how do you think you guys will break down this Warriors team? Like, how do you think you'll break them down on Saturday? What do you think you can target in terms of a weakness of this Warriors team? Because the Warriors recently have defended not too great. I think our defense has leaked a few points lately. We were strong at the start of the season, but how do you think you guys will target this Warriors team? Just in terms of like getting points against this strong Warriors team.
I certainly think it'll be on the edges. That forward pack is too good to try and go through. So it's like you got to just try and dent the middle and then go around if a gap is created. We'll see it there from up the wires. Panthers will target our left edge defense. That's exactly it. And it's not as if it's a bad defense. It's probably just the weakest spot in the defense, And so it's just logical for them to do that. You're going to have Brian Toto out there, Nathan Cleary out there, Dylan Edwards out there, and they're going to be going at that edge. Isaac Tungo out there, Liam Martin out there. So that's got to be what they've got to hit, But from a Penrith perspective, I don't want them to only go to that edge. I want them to still mix it up, You can't be too obvious with it. You can't be doing the same thing every time because the Warriors are a smart enough team and a well enough coached team to, make up for those sorts of things. So it's going to be interesting. I think that they will try and bash up through the middle first and then hit the edge. I don't think Penrith will be looking to score in the first minute. I think they'll just look to be ahead in the 80th minute.
Yeah, and from my point of view, what the Warriors need to do is, just the way they start this game is so crucial. I think the first 20 minutes will show if the Warriors can hang with Penrith and get a result in this game. I think it is the most important for me. Just if we're down like 18-0 or 20-0 early, I think it's going to be a tough ask for us. So we're going to have to be defensively strong early on in this game. And when we get a few opportunities, if we do get a few opportunities and Penrith make a couple of mistakes, we've got to make the most of it. We've got to make the most of those chances down the Panthers line, because if we don't, Penrith will definitely make the most of theirs. So that's the key. So looking at Nathan Cleary and Sean Johnson, what do you think in regards to those two players? We know Nathan Cleary's, I think this year he's had a pretty good season, but he has missed some games as well. So you got Sean Johnson, who's been very consistent for the Warriors this year. He's well in contention for the Dally M. Personally, I think he should win it. In my opinion, what are your thoughts there, just on the two halfbacks and how that will go out? How do you think that would go in this game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. In terms of, I think Nathan Cleary is the best player in the comp, but I think Sean Johnson's had the best season in the comp. I agree with you about the Dally M. I think he should win it. It can't be, overstated how good he has been. And who would have thought that would happen at this point of his career, given everything that's happened with the move, coming back, some injuries that he's had, some of the form last year and a few of the years before that. I didn't see this coming. But I'm really happy for him. I like Sean Johnson. I like the Warriors, and it's been really good to see. It's going to be really tight and really interesting. I think it's going to be like one of those ones where you go, it's just a matter of inches, really, what happens here, especially in the halfback matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting. You've got the experience of Sean Johnson up against, well, we could say Cleary's now experienced anyways, but
both
of them experienced now these days. So Sean's not Nathan Cleary's not he's not a very young player anymore. He's been around.
No, he's 25 now. So he's 8 seasons, I think.
Yeah, so both players, very important to the side, important for each of their sides here. So just a question here in the chat. So we'll just read this one out here from Marco D. Jong. Says, what do you reckon Webby could have from his first time with the Panthers? Yeah, just a question on that. Well, what do you think? Do you think, because he knows Penrith so well, do you feel like there's maybe something that he can throw into the Warriors, or it's completely different now, the Panthers, what they're doing, but do you feel like Webby may have something maybe that he knows from his time at Penrith that he can chuck in knowledge to the Warriors?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think in terms of game plan, I don't think that much more than usual. Every team watches video of each other and all that stuff. And obviously, Penrith are going to change a few things anyway, given that they're going up against Levy. But you could see something like, maybe there's a player out there for Penrith that gets really easily annoyed and starts making mistakes when they're annoyed. Maybe Webby could say to, I don't know, Murata Niokore or something, hey, say this to Liam Martin when you're out there or something like that and see if it can rile him up and get in his head. Those are the kind of things where you go, game plan, I'm not so sure. But as humans, I feel like that could be something that the Warriors could take advantage of. And I think that's fair enough if they do. It's finals footy. You got to do what you got to do to win the game. So, that's a part of it where you go, if you see Penrith rattled, who knows how much, Webby has had to do with that, really.
Yeah, and on the Warriors, especially with this game, I've heard that they're flying in with a private jet, so they're getting into the private jet. So there's a bit of reports around that. So I think it's a good, just trying to prepare as well as possible because I think the thing is the Warriors will know it's important for them in terms of this game is how they prepare well in terms of what they do in training. And the preparation to get to Penrith as well, to get to Sydney, because, obviously they have to fly out and that. So, after the game, especially after the game, they're going to have to fly home. So, as well. But just on, your record, your record in Penrith, especially at home, is outstanding. So, I think for the Warriors, the key is they have to, keep the fans quiet early on. What are your feelings there with the home fans early on and how vocal it's going to be, especially those Penrith fans? We know they love their team and we know how passionate they are, but if you let them get too rowdy, it may get to the Warriors. But what are your feelings there, on that home support, because it's so important for you guys especially?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a massive factor. I think at the moment, both on the field and in the stands, Penrith's probably the hardest place to go to play footy right now. I actually think, Mount Smart Stadium is the second hardest, to be honest. So that's one where I go, either way, I think the Warriors will be okay. They'll be used to that sort of atmosphere, but it is interesting how much they'll be used to being on the opposite side of it. Because I do also think there's been, pretty much everyone's been happy to see the Warriors come up this year. I've enjoyed it. It's been really good to see, because it's been a few years. So it'll be interesting to see how they react now to they're going to come up against a crowd that really badly wants them to lose. So it's going to be interesting, definitely.
Yeah, and on that, I've heard that the Warriors supporters Bay, the away supporters Bay in Penrith is sold out. So the Warriors,
nice. Good.
So the Warriors support, especially here in Australia this year, has been incredible. You can hear them on the telly. I went to the Dolphins game last week, and boy, that was a Warriors home game. That was more of a Warriors home game in Brisbane. And then at Seabus Super Stadium against the Titans, boy, that was very vocal as well. So the Warriors supporters in Australia do get around a lot, especially this year. Sydney and Australia, Queensland, wherever, they've travelled very well, actually. So I think, obviously, in Sydney, you're going to expect a lot more, around Penrith, you're going to expect more Penrith fans than the Warriors supporters. But, I think the importance of the Warriors is, to shut those fans up and keep them quiet early on. And, that I think that's so important, because if Penrith start very well, the crowd's going to be very loud and vocal, and, the Warriors will be up against it. So,
certainly. Yeah.
So just a comment here, up the wires is asking here, do the Wires have to play a similar style game to the Eels to beat the Panthers? Yeah, just on that question there, Jack. You guys a couple of weeks ago lost to Parramatta, The Parramatta Eels, they threw an interesting game plan at you. No Moses as well. They had no Mitchell Moses. You guys were at full strength. I don't think you guys had anybody out in that game. So, well, what are your thoughts there? Do you think what this comment here from the Up the Wires is saying here? Do you think they need to throw a similar game style to what Parramatta did against you guys a couple of weeks ago? Because I know it's a totally different side, but well, you guys are pretty much were at your same players were there. But what are your thoughts there?
I certainly think it has to be a similar style of game, definitely. They can't exactly copy the entire game plan because you'd expect Penrith to play better than they did in that game. It's one where you go, they definitely have to take those same principles of attack them hard in the middle, then fast on the edge. Like, it's just so direct, Don't try and throw it around and sort of dance around too much. Don't try and be too slow with it, trying to be too finesse. Like, just go for it, hit the line hard, hit the line fast, and sort of just get under the skin of Penrith early and then give them something to chase. That's probably that in that style. I think that's kind of where they have to play similar, still play their own game because obviously, Sean Johnson and Dylan Brown are different style of players as are, Tamari Martin and Dejan Arce, Clint Gutherson and Charles Cookster. There's differences in there. So that's where they have to sort of adapt that, I guess, to suit their individuals. But there's certainly something in there. I don't think that's a bad point at all.
Yeah, and Manly did something similar as well. I think they tried something very different, which you don't usually see. Obviously, it didn't really pay off in the end, but they tried.
No, but it was close. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, they did stay with you guys for quite a bit in that game, but it tailed off towards the second half and that. So yeah, just looking at the betting prices via Sportsbet in Australia. Panthers there, not a surprise and a shock here. $1.20 favourites, which is well deserved in my opinion. Warriors $4.60. Well, what are your thoughts there on those odds? Because it's a big price for the Warriors.
That's a bit disrespectful to the Warriors. Jeez, Penrith, obviously, they deserve to be favourites, but not by that much. I think $1.20 is far too cheap for the Panthers, and $4.60 for the Warriors. Jeez.
Yeah,
might put $5 on it. that's not bad at all, is it? Jeez.
It's massive. I know how we're massive underdogs in this game, and I was listening to Andrew Webster today as a media press conference sort of thing. He did, which was awesome to listen to hear what he said in regards to this game. And Andrew Webster, he's a well-spoken coach. He speaks very well. That's probably why he's got the boys to where they are now and what they're doing. So yeah, just want to look into the stats actually for the season. So just looking into the season stats. So looked at points scored. So interesting enough that the Warriors have scored 562 points. The Panthers 601. Points conceded. Panthers 300, Warriors 414, and completion rates 82 to the Panthers, Warriors 78. Average points scored. The Panthers 26 to 24. The Warriors average points conceded. Panthers only conceded 13 points. Well, God. That's so impressive. 13 points there. Boy. And the Warriors 24. So overall, if you look at those stats, what are your thoughts there on those stats in particular?
I think it highlights what we were showing really about the Warriors have to make it their style of game.
Yeah.
If they try and grind with the Panthers, they're going to score 13 points. They need to be happy with the fact that they might concede 26 points, but they know that they can score more than 26 points. So, I think that really shows that, we clearly know what we're talking about.
Yep. And just one final thing before we get into the score predictions and anytime try scorers for this game. How do you feel regards to how this game will go? Do you feel like this is going to be a game where Penrith win convincingly, or do you feel like the Warriors can go into this and be quite competitive and run it close? How do you feel about this one, Jack? How do you feel?
I think it's going to be really close and really competitive, similar to how it played out in Magic Round last time I was on, where I think, I still think Penrith will win, but I don't think it's going to be anything like what the sporting odds are saying. I think they've got it completely wrong there.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people writing us off and saying we're no chance, and some people say Penrith will be far too good, and that, and look, I feel like this team, is more than capable of beating you guys, or at least being competitive. And look, I think even if we lose this game, I do feel like it's not the end of the world because we get a second chance next week. But it would be awesome, obviously, to win the first week because you get the week off the following week. So then you get a chance of a home prelim final, which would be a huge chance. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be massive, wouldn't it?
It would be. But regards to this game, score prediction, anytime try score, obviously you're going to be backing your boys, the Panthers, to get the win. What do you think the scoreline will be? What is your margin?
I think Penrith will win 20-14. And I say anytime try scorers, I'm going to go Stephen Crichton and Dallin Wafaneza-Lesniak. They both know how to score a try, don't they?
Oh, for sure. I like Dallin. He's right up there in the try scorers this year.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played. Well, he hasn't played a lot of games at the start of this year, and he was just coming back from an injury. So it's been a massive season for DWZ, especially. So obviously he'd been rested last week against the Dolphins. So overall for me, look, I am going to go my heart over my head for this one. I'm going to back the boys in. Of course, I'm going to back the Warriors in here. Going to back my team. I've got to have belief that we can do it. So I do. I have massive belief we can do it. And I think the Warriors will win here. So I'm going to go Warriors 24-20. I feel like there'll be a lot of tries in this. I don't feel like this is going to be a real defensive sort of grindy sort of game. I feel like both teams will throw the ball around, score a lot of points. 24-20 for me for the Warriors. Regards to try scorers in this game, anytime, I'll go Dallin Wafaneza-Lesniak for the Warriors. For the Panthers, I'm going to go Brian Toto. I think he'll score a try in this game.
Nice,
I think he's been in great form recently as well. He's scored a few tries lately. And I'll find one more try scorer, and I'm going to go for big Adam Fanua-Blake. Adam Fanua-Blake, he has a knack of scoring some tries.
Yeah, nice. He scored against us last time.
Yeah, so Adam Fanua-Blake to do it again. I feel like he may crash over from a good pass through Wade Egan and in the hooker spot. So, I'll go AFB to score in this game as well. So, that is it. I think that pretty much wraps up the preview for this massive encounter between the two sides. Penrith Panthers v New Zealand Warriors on Saturday afternoon down there at Bluebird Stadium, Penrith. Jack, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate you giving your time up to come on and preview this game. And all the best. May the best team win. And hopefully it's a good game on Saturday.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, mate. I love chatting with you, especially on here. Good luck this Saturday, and hopefully we're doing this again in a few weeks for a grand final, huh?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed, both of us will be there again both of us will be there on grand final day. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed there. But just a comment here from Up the Waz, he's got a prediction. So Warriors 28-12, AFB man of the match. So, look, I think Adam Fanua-Blake may have a big game on Saturday. But thanks again, Jack, for coming on. Really do appreciate it. And thanks to all the viewers for watching. And make sure you do like this live stream or like the video back if you're watching it back. Comment your feedback and thoughts. What are your predictions for the game? Let me know in the comment section down below. And make sure you like the live stream. Again, click the thumbs up on the live stream. Don't forget to like the live stream, like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. And go and follow the Big Cat Chat podcast. So where can they find you again?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Big Cat Chat or on Twitter at Big Cat Chat Pod. We don't upload as much as we probably should, but there's one coming this week, so stay tuned for that.
Awesome stuff. So yeah, go and give them some support and love, and I believe they do a great job, although they haven't recently uploaded, but I'm sure they will get back into it, no doubt about it. But yeah, so awesome stuff, guys. But thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys all in the next live stream or next video. Cheers everyone for watching. Have a good one. And up the mighty Wahas. Go the Warriors.